Welcome to the Silk Road, the Amazon of the dark web, where narcotics, weapons, and even murder for hire were just a few clicks away. At the center of this digital empire was a mysterious figure known as Dread Pirate Roberts, a man who built a billion-dollar criminal enterprise and remained elusive to law enforcement for years. But as the stakes grew higher and the authorities closed in, the dark secrets of the Silk Road would be exposed, leading to a shocking finale that nobody could have predicted. Before diving into the depths of the Silk Road, it's important to understand the man behind the curtain. Ross William Ulbricht was born on March 27, 1984 in Austin, Texas. He grew up in a loving and supportive family, with his parents describing him as a compassionate and intelligent young man. Ross was a Boy Scout, an avid reader, and showed a strong aptitude for science from an early age. Ulbricht's academic pursuits led him to the University of Texas at Dallas, where he earned a bachelor's degree in physics. He later attended Pennsylvania State University, obtaining a master's degree in material science and engineering. During his time in graduate school, Ross became increasingly interested in libertarianism and Austrian economics, which would later play a key role in the formation of the Silk Road. Following his time in academia, Ulbricht struggled to find a stable career path. He attempted to launch multiple businesses, including an online bookstore and a video game company, but none of these ventures proved successful. It was during this period of uncertainty that Ulbricht conceived the idea of the Silk Road, driven by his belief in free markets and personal liberty. Then, in 2011, inspired by the fictional character from the film The Princess Bride, Ulbricht assumed the pseudonym to protect his own identity, and the Silk Road was launched within the uncharted territories of the dark web. This hidden part of the internet can only be accessed through a special browser called Tor, which allows users to browse anonymously, concealing their identities and locations. The site was named after the ancient trade route that connected the East and the West. But, unlike its historical namesake, the Silk Road trafficked not in spices and silk, but in illegal drugs, firearms, and other illicit goods. But what made the Silk Road truly revolutionary was its use of cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, then a fledgling digital currency, allowed users to make anonymous transactions, making it the perfect tool for the Silk Road's illicit activities. As the Silk Road grew in popularity, so too did the value of Bitcoin, which skyrocketed from just a few cents to over $1,000 during the site's 2-year reign. By the time the platform was shut down in 2013, it had facilitated over $1.2 billion in sales, with Ulbricht amassing a fortune in Bitcoin. And with that newfound wealth, the Dread Pirate Roberts became a sort of digital age Robin Hood, fighting for freedom and privacy in the face of an increasingly intrusive government. But as the Silk Road grew, so did the attention from law enforcement. The site's illicit activities had not gone unnoticed, and soon a task force was assembled to take down Dread Pirate Roberts and his criminal empire. Under the codename Operation Marco Polo, the FBI, DEA, and other agencies began to hunt for the man behind the curtain, and as the pressure mounted, the darker side of the Silk Road began to emerge. In addition to its myriad illegal goods, the site also hosted a number of services that catered to the darkest and most depraved corners of the human psyche. It was said you could purchase human skulls, poisoned frogs, stolen identities, and even human organs on the Silk Road. And as the authorities closed in, the Dread Pirate Roberts would be forced to confront the very real possibility that his dream of a digital utopia had transformed into a nightmarish world of violence and betrayal. In October 2013, after a 2-year manhunt, the authorities finally caught up with the Dread Pirate Roberts. In a dramatic takedown in a San Francisco public library, FBI agents arrested Ross. Ross's first mistake came in 2011, when he used his personal email address to post on a programming forum seeking assistance with a particular issue related to the Tor network. This post caught the attention of Gary Alford, an IRS agent who was independently investigating the Silk Road. The email address provided a crucial link between Ulbricht and the website, but more evidence would be needed to make an arrest. In 2012, a fake ID shipment addressed to Ross Ulbricht was intercepted by US Customs and Border Protection. When Homeland Security agents visited his San Francisco apartment, Ulbricht claimed that someone must have stolen his identity. Although the agents didn't arrest him at that time, the incident connected Albrecht to the type of criminal activity conducted on the Silk Road. Later, a Google search performed by Albrecht led investigators to an old post he had made on the Bitcoin Talk forum using the handle Altoid. In the post, he had sought help with a Bitcoin-related issue, and he made the critical error of signing it with his real name. By connecting the dots, investigators were able to link Albrecht to the Silk Road through a series of digital breadcrumbs, eventually amassing enough evidence for an arrest. As the authorities closed in, Albrecht's desperation to maintain control of his criminal empire led him to make increasingly reckless decisions. It was his alleged involvement in a murder-for-hire plot that ultimately sealed his fate. Believing that a Silk Road vendor was blackmailing him, Albrecht allegedly paid $150,000 in Bitcoin for the vendor's assassination. Unbeknownst to him, the supposed hitman was an undercover law enforcement agent, and the murder was staged. The FBI now had the final piece of evidence they needed to apprehend Albrecht and bring the Silk Road crashing down. These allegations painted a stark contrast to the idealistic image of the Dread Pirate Roberts as a freedom-fighting crusader. Instead, they revealed a ruthless and cold-blooded kingpin, willing to go to any lengths to maintain his power and evade capture. But just when it seemed like the story was coming to an end, a shocking twist emerged. Evidence surfaced that suggested Albrecht was not the only one using the Dread Pirate Roberts moniker. Speculation grew that the mantle had been passed down, just like in The Princess Bride, and that multiple individuals had assumed the identity to maintain the Silk Road's operations. As the trial unfolded, it was revealed that 2 federal agents involved in the Silk Road investigation had gone rogue, using their positions to steal Bitcoin and extort Dread Pirate Roberts. These corrupt agents cast a shadow of doubt over the entire investigation, and many began to question if the true mastermind behind the Silk Road was still at large. In 2015, Ross Albrecht was ultimately found guilty on multiple charges, including conspiracy to traffic narcotics, money laundering, and computer hacking. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The conviction and sentencing was seen as a major victory for law enforcement, who had finally managed to take down one of the most notorious criminal enterprises of the digital age. But the story doesn't end with Albrecht's conviction. In the years following the fall of the Silk Road, numerous other darknet marketplaces have sprung up in its place. Some of these successes, such as Alphabay and Hansa Market, were eventually shut down by law enforcement, but new ones continue to emerge, each one learning from the mistakes of its predecessors. The legacy of the Silk Road is a complex and multifaceted one. On one hand, it demonstrated the potential dangers of an unregulated online marketplace where anonymity can enable criminal activity to flourish unchecked. On the other hand, it has also become a symbol of the ongoing battle for digital privacy and freedom in an age of increasing government surveillance. As we look back on the rise and fall of the Silk Road, we are left to ponder the limits of technology and the darker side of human nature that it can sometimes reveal. The Silk Road was a truly groundbreaking and controversial experiment that changed the way we think about online marketplaces, digital currencies, and the role of privacy in the digital age. But at the heart of this story lies the chilling reminder of what can happen when our darkest impulses are left unchecked, and the consequences that can unfold when the lines between the virtual and the real world become all too blurred.